Hi, this is Andrea. This is a continuation on my Crimes Journey to Life blog series on pornography. Day 126, so this will be day 127, where I want to continue on a point related to pornography, how the youth basically view ourselves in relation to how the media shapes our self-view, which is coming directly from, for example, porn stars, how they are seen as being the ultimate perfect form, how movie stars, even though their pictures are, photoshopped, an illusion is created through the media with regards to these images, movie stars, music stars, and how they are placed as these goddess and godlike figures, and how this creates a false image of the female and male form. Now, the point that I want to discuss today is specifically in relation to this article that I found. Some of you might have seen it, I'll share the link, where pedophiles are now basically asking for the same rights, the same laws that protect homosexual people to protect pedophiles as well, because they base that on the idea that pedophiles and pedophilia is considered to be an incurable mental disorder and is classified in the same psychological grouping as homosexuality. And therefore, they are saying that because their disorder cannot be treated, that they should be able to live out their desires. You can read the article for yourself, but basically, to give an overview here, they are basically asking to be allowed to watch child pornography. They basically, the advocates and lawyers and psychologists that are defending their view are basically saying, look, they will not themselves be allowed to prime children, to enforce children to have sex with them. They are basically at the same time saying, okay, for a child to want to have sex with an adult, it must be the child's choice, which means that a child must be, through the education system, must be prepared for and educated about sex at an earlier and earlier age. Now, the point that I want to discuss in relation to this today is any person who has studied things like child development, child psychology, basic psychology, will know that a child is basically a programmable unit, a programmable organic robot. A child is, through its developmental years, basically being influenced by its environment, by what adults do and say, what its peers are doing. So a child is very programmable. A child does not come into this world understanding what to do. It is taught everything it knows, and that is why you will see, depending on what a child is taught in its family, in its religious construct, in its societal construct, where a child grows up, what influences are the child grows up with, the child will be different. So in each household, each child grows up differently, which proves the concept of that a child learns what is taught to it by those that influence the child or have influence over the child. So obviously we understand that a child up to the age of probably around 18, 19 is not really actually making their own choices. They are influenced by adults. And therefore for the pedophiles to argue, okay, that the children must be educated about sexuality earlier and earlier, I mean, that is what pedophiles have been doing all along, is priming children's minds to be suitable targets for pedophiles, where they will use specific words, discussions, tonalities, body movements, gifts, compliments. They will, for example, build up the child's confidence as an adult, as somebody that is seen by the child as being more than them, more knowledgeable than them. The pedophile will prime the child through building up the child's self-esteem to eventually do what the pedophile wants them to do, basically in a nutshell. Now, for the pedophiles to argue that the child will then, through the education system, be taught earlier and earlier about sexuality is exactly the same thing. It's just priming under the banner of its lawfulness for the child to now, within legal means, to be prepared for what the pedophiles want from them. Now, to add to that point of the child being highly impressionable, let's use an example of what celebrities, like, for example, Miley Cyrus, what they are busy knowing and unbeknowingly are actually busy doing. Miley Cyrus, for example, is going through a phase right now where she admittedly says that she can do anything. She can make the most nasty, disgusting music videos that she wants to do, and she can do it knowingly because she's at a point now in her career, apparently, where she was born to be a star. Her ego is at such a point now where she has exalted herself through the acceptance of all of society to this godlike figure where she can basically do what she wants to because she'll always have her fans. She'll always have people adoring her. What she doesn't understand within that, of course, is the responsibility that she is abdicating as a person who is highly influential for these young people. I mean, people look at her music videos where she is giving blowjobs to sledgehammers, and they are, through that symbology, they are programming themselves and changing themselves in relation to the visual input. And so the children at younger and younger ages are starting to accept themselves in these sexual roles that these celebrities are putting out there. So this raises the question, why is the media not being held accountable for allowing the development of sexual abuse, the priming of children for abuse, where through the media, basically, and I mean, the marketing, the people who do the marketing research, the media companies, the organizations, the corporations, all of them understand human psychology. They understand how programmable the human is. They understand the human's inherent need for self-value through the picture presentation that you take on, which is something that is accepted by society, and that if you look like that picture, or you do that, or you have money like celebrities or whatever, then you are acceptable. And unfortunately, because humanity does not understand how the human value system, how self-esteem functions, and how we, obviously it is being understood by those that use it, the corporations, because that is how capitalism functions. I mean, consumerism functions according to that. If we were to really educate the public on how we are being influenced through the media, then consumerism would drop by 90%, and we would only buy really that which we want to buy because it is an expression of ourselves, not because it defines who we are. Anyway, so back onto the topic of who is accountable for young children being programmed through all these images. You have the problem in society, which is rape, sexual abuse, exploitation, child labor, child sexual exploitation, kidnapping, all of that stuff. Then you have society over here, which is allowing for the development of abuseful abuse situations that is developed through how we have given permission to how we view sexuality. I mean, we're busy creating this on a day-to-day basis, like the power that we give celebrities, the stuff that we allow on television, the stuff that we allow in our own minds. But then you have problems over here, which are the outflows of what we all give permission to on a day-to-day basis. And nobody wants to take responsibility for how we create what eventually becomes the bigger problems in our society. So now you have, on a physical level, the consequences here in our faces, where pedophiles are saying, we want to be able to do what we do, and we want to be protected by the law. This is a physical consequence of a world where, I mean, 20 years ago, pedophiles would not have even considered asking for that. Now they're asking for it because there's a point that's being reached within our society where people are starting to see, okay, look, others are getting away with doing whatever the hell they want, especially in relation to sexuality. So we are going to stop feeling bad about ourselves and hide what we do and go to psychology sessions and therapy, and we're actually going to say, hell, I also want to be able to do what I see all the people doing on the internet. And I want the law to protect me so that when I'm moving around the community doing my thing, nobody is allowed to discriminate against me. And so now I'm tying in all the points between the two previous blogs that I did about pornography. I basically, in the second one, I started focusing on how does a young person become a porn star? What developmental stages do they go through, and with regard to the psychological development for a person all of a sudden to say, I want to become a porn star. So there I focused more on how young girls and young men, but especially young girls, are raised to want to become more and more picture-like. They want to look like celebrities. They want to look like the girls in the magazines. They want to look like TV stars. And this is being encouraged and endorsed in various formats. And then you have the Miley Cyruses that are not taking responsibility for what they're doing. In fact, they think it's a big fat joke. Because, I mean, for her, she is being paid a lot of money to do what she enjoys the most. She gets attention. And I mean, all of us, myself included, are able to relate to a point in our time, in our life, when we were really enjoying getting attention from people. Now imagine, place yourself in the shoes of Miley Cyrus, who considers herself to obviously be some, like, almost like a God-sent manifestation on earth. And this person like her, Paris Hilton, Britney Spears, all of these celebrities who are doted upon, in fact, when somebody doesn't know who they are, they throw temper tantrums. The possession of themselves has gone so far that they absolutely crave the most attention that they can get from society. So they're not going to stop, and the corporation, media, music industry bosses are obviously encouraging that, and so that they can make more money, so they can make that person do that because it's a brand that they're selling. This in turn is leading to the generation of young children that is now learning about the female form, the male form, sexuality through illusions, through pictures that are placed out there solely so that people can make money. I mean, the porn industry doesn't give a hoot about what it is doing to the actors, what it is doing to society. It's about money. It's the same with all the other industries. It's about making money. So we are now facing a point where, I mean, pedophiles are now wanting the same rights. They're saying they're not themselves, if these laws get passed, they themselves won't be preparing children to have sex with the pedophiles, but they will not have to do the work because it's already been done for them. And that's the points that I want to emphasize in this vlog in relation to the porn series that I'm doing, is how, first of all, here we're facing another consequence in our society of we haven't taken any responsibility for what we've created thus far in relation to sex and sexuality. Now it's being taken a step further, and it's easy for us to say, oh, the pedophiles should just stop. But why isn't anybody else taking responsibility for sexuality? And I mean, this is going, if you look at it, this will open interesting doors. I mean, it sounds like, okay, this is ludicrous, but even the fact that it is being considered that there are lawyers and all kinds of processes that they're going through now to state their case, the fact that it's getting this far, not being laughed at, from the word go, is already a step forward for them. And I mean, if this gets passed and this gets legalized, this opens the door for any person who commits a crime, if they can prove that they could not be treated for this mental disorder, that they must be able to do what they do. Psychopaths, rapists, serial killers, I mean, this is going to open the door for any person to basically say, why should I be in prison for having the desire to kill people? So we are now at a point where we are actually, I mean, not that we haven't been seeing consequences being created by us, for us, daily, but this is so much in your face, and hopefully we don't get to a point where our world is so out of control, and only then do we start paying attention to, because now, I mean, if this gets passed, as a parent, you know that there are pedophiles walking around and moving around in your community, and by law, there's nothing you can do about it. And if they communicate with your child, and your child is already in school, and every time they go on the internet and they're watching Miley Cyrus hump her big ball and blowjob the sledgehammer, and you're already saying, well, all of that is already existent to program my child. The education system has to now teach children younger and younger about sex. Now there's the added element of pedophiles waiting for these children to make the apparent choice of, yes, I want to have sex with you, or I want to star in porn movies for pedophiles. So that's that. Thank you.